What it do, YouTube? It's your boy Mike from NYC, and we back on the reaction. Today we are watching Michael Jordan's underrated Wizards years. Somebody suggested me to watch this after I watched Michael Jordan making the case, because the guy wanted to just leave out Jordan's Wizards years, and he said leaving out Jordan's Wizard years is dumb. React to this underrated Michael Jordan Wizard years. So without any further ado, let me just make sure everything is right. Without any further ado, let's get it popping. Oh my gosh. Hey.
The words Michael Jordan and underrated may seem like ludicrous to have in the same sentence. After all, he is one of the biggest icons in sports history and is recognized by most as the NBA's greatest player of all time. But when it comes to MJ's days with the Wizards, there is no question in my mind that those years are vastly underrated, and I believe by the end of this video, you'll be convinced of it too. When we take a look at Michael Jordan's career as a Chicago Bull, you'll see a resume of winning, excellence, and dominance. He was clearly the best player in the league just about every year he played, and he was the best player on both sides of the ball, just about every time he set foot on the court. This is the ridiculously high standards that Michael had set for himself, and that we as the fans had become accustomed to seeing from him. The Michael Jordan we knew in Chicago was always winning either MVPs, championships, or scoring titles.
Or both.
And this is exactly why so many people either underrate or have forgotten completely just how remarkable Jordan's stint was as a Washington Wizard. So what exactly are all the different reasons why people choose to overlook these seasons? Well, for one, as I just mentioned, the bar was set absurdly high by his Chicago Days standards. Number two, some believed his return tarnished the perfect ending of his career in Chicago. And number three, the bitter ending of Jordan's relationship with the Washington Wizards organization. After Jordan retired as a player from the Wizards, Jordan assumed that he would be able to return to his front office position as director of basketball operations with the Wizards. Unfortunately, that was not the case. Soon after Jordan's retirement as a Wizards player, Washington's Wizards owner Abe Pollin fired Jordan as the team's president of basketball operations. Jordan's previous tenure with the Wizards front office had produced mixed results. Many of Jordan's decisions as an executive did not pan out, including his decision to draft Kwame Brown straight out of high school, who ended up being a bust and was traded just 4 seasons after Jordan had drafted him. Jordan later stated that he felt betrayed, and that if he had known that he would be fired upon retiring as a player, he would have never come back to play for the Wizards in the first place. Regardless, Jordan had returned to play 2 years for the Wizards, and despite the fact that those 2 seasons failed to live up to his glory days in Chicago, and despite the fact
how many years was it?
Regardless, Jordan had returned to play 2 years for the Wizards.
Oh, it was only 2 years?
Despite the fact that those 2 seasons failed to live up to his glory days in Chicago, and despite the fact that those 2 seasons ended in a bitter firing, those seasons were still utterly remarkable, and in my opinion, they are 2 of the most underrated seasons in NBA history. So at this point, sit back and enjoy as I break down the astonishing details about Jordan's underrated years with the Wizards. When Jordan had retired from the Bulls at the end of the 1998 NBA season, Jordan claimed he was 99.9% sure he would never play in the NBA again. As we all know, that 0.1% chance prevailed, and Jordan returned to the game he loved. Jordan's passion for the game was seen immediately upon his return, as he announced that all of his earnings from these upcoming seasons with Washington, he would be donating to disaster relief funds for the 9/11 attacks in New York. After being completely apart from competitive basketball for 3 full seasons, Jordan was returning as a 38-year-old who was trying to get back into basketball shape. The comeback had plenty of physical obstacles as well. Jordan was heading into his return dealing with tendonitis in his wrist and in both of his knees. During a pickup game that offseason, Ron Artest had broke 2 of Jordan's ribs while playing physical defense on MJ. Jordan would also go on to have fluid drained from his knees multiple times throughout that year. Michael Jordan was joining a Wizards team who had finished the previous season with the third worst record in the entire NBA at 19-63, despite the fact that they were playing in a much weaker Eastern Conference. They also had the second worst defense in the league in terms of opponents' points per game. They weren't just a lottery team. The Wizards were coming off of their worst season in franchise history. The deck was stacked against him, and Jordan and the Wizards' 01-02 season got...
Time out. What's going on right here? It looks like the ball's in play, and he's just chilling in the middle of the court. What is happening right now? I'm so confused.
Was stacked against him, and Jordan and the Wizards' 01-02 season got off to a slow start at 2-9. But they began to figure things out and went on a 9-game winning streak to improve their record to 14-12.
MJ still dunking?
Just 2 games later, Jordan had his worst performance of his return, shooting 2 for 10 from the field, finishing with only 6 points.
That's not even that
losing
bad.
By 27 points to the Indiana Pacers. Jordan was ice cold that entire game, and due to that, Michael's coach Doug Collins played Jordan in a reduced role, finishing the performance with only 25 minutes played. Jordan's 6-point game meant that his all-time great streak of 866 games with at least 10 points had come to an end. This poor performance and reduced minutes led Jordan to question his coach's faith in his abilities.
You know, that bus is lonely as a coach when you're sitting there after you've got your head handed to you. So I was sitting on the bus, and actually Michael had hired me. He was the part owner and president GM, hired me to be the coach, and then he came back to play. I'll never forget this moment ever as a coach. This to me was greatness. He got on the bus and he said, "Scoot over." And he looked at me and he said, "Do you think I can still play?" And I said, "Absolutely. That's why I'm here, to be here to help you." He said, "You know, to be my coach, you have to believe in me and believe I can still play." And I said, "Michael, I believe in you." We played the New Jersey Nets the next night. And Michael scores the first 3 times he has the ball. Byron Scott takes a timeout, and Michael comes over and he says, "I want the ball right there the rest of the game, and don't take me out till I tell you."
Oh, shit.
And so that's fine by me.
Shit.
With 2 minutes to go in the game, he gives me the sign like, "That's enough." I take him out of the game. He walks over to the bench. I said, "Michael, what happened tonight?" He said, "Well, the guy who was guarding me was told me his back was hurting. Don't ever tell me you got a problem." He said, I'll make you pay for that." 51 points later. 51 points at age 41. He came back the next game with 46. And he looked at me and said, "I told you I could still play."
Jordan responded in the following game the way a champion responds. He proved beyond a shadow of a doubt that he could still play in this league. Jordan was torching the Charlotte Hornets, playing like a man possessed. He scored 51 points on 55% shooting, adding 7 rebounds, 4 assists, and 3 steals. Jordan continued his dominance into the following game, scoring an efficient 45 points.
Oh my God, what are you doing?
7 assists.
Nah, it looked like he got a bad bag. Look at his bag.
Efficient 45 points,
bad bag.
10 rebounds,
excuse me,
and 7
bad bag.
assists on an extremely talented New Jersey Nets team that went on to the NBA Finals that season. With these remarkable performances, Jordan became the only player in NBA history to score 50 points in a game in 3 different decades. No other player in NBA history has even done 40 points in a game in 3 different decades. Less than a month later, he had another back-to-back 40 points.
Damn, Kobe didn't never do that? Bruh, Kobe never did that? Because I would think Kobe had scored 40 in the 90s. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, he scored 40 in the 2000s, and I would think he scored at least 40 once in the 2010s. Bruh. Ain't no way, bruh.
Including a game-winning buzzer beater over the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Wizards started the season with a 26-21 record, and on the 47th game, Jordan collided with a teammate and tore his meniscus.
Oh!
He tried to play through the pain and on reduced minutes, but after another 14 games, he had arthroscopic knee surgery to repair the knee, and his season was over.
God damn it!
Before Jordan's injury occurred, Jordan was averaging 25.1 points per game, 6.2 assists, 5.3 rebounds, and 1.5 steals per game.
Wow.
It's unfortunate that we didn't get to see a healthy Jordan make it through the season, because the reality was he was getting better as the season progressed and as he got back into basketball shape. In his last 20 games leading up to his injury, Jordan was averaging 27.5 points per game, 6.4 assists, 5.2
He's still
rebounds,
looking
and
up,
1.3
yo.
steals per game on 44% shooting. In his last 10 games leading up to the injury, Jordan was averaging 29.7 points, 6.6 assists, 6.1 rebounds, 1.2 steals on 47% shooting. Also before Jordan's injury, the Wizards were on a 47-win pace and were well in the playoff hunt. Up to that point, no team in NBA history had ever been a sub-20 win team and gone on to have a winning record the following season. Jordan had the Wizards well on their way, up until the meniscus happened. Something else to consider is that the Wizards' second option, Richard Hamilton, missed 5 weeks of their 26-21 stretch due to Hamilton's groin injury. After Hamilton healed and returned to the floor, the Wizards went on a remarkable 15-1 streak while they had both Jordan and Hamilton healthy on the floor. When you add all of this up, you begin to realize that not only did Jordan take one of the worst...
They could have won the chip, low-key. I'm jacking it.
But had it not been for his knee injury,
they could have made it to the chip.
Wizards would have had a legitimate shot at the first seed in the Eastern Conference. Not only was MJ getting better offensively as the season went on, but his defensive impact was getting better as well. Remember how the 2001 Wizards had the second worst defense in the league in terms of opponents' points per game? Jordan was the Wizards' only significant addition to their 2002 season, and at the time the knee injury had occurred, he had improved the Wizards to the 6th best defense in opponents' points per game, allowing only 92.2 points. In Jordan's last 35 games leading up to the injury, the Wizards were allowing only 90 points per game, on pace to have them ranked 3rd overall defensively in the entire NBA. In the 15-1 stretch that Jordan and Hamilton were both actually healthy and on the floor together, the Wizards were allowing just 86.3
That's
points
crazy.
per game, which was by far the best defense in the entire league.
Wow.
The Miami Heat finished as the #1 defense that season, allowing a higher 88.7 points per game. If Jordan and Hamilton had been able to remain healthy for the duration of the 2002 season, they may have finished with the best defense in the entire NBA. Again, with Jordan being the only major addition, the Wizards went from the 2nd worst defense in the league to one of the best the NBA had to offer. That's the effect a 38-year-old Michael Jordan had on a lottery team. After Jordan's knee injury, and eventually the termination of his season, the Wizards absolutely imploded, winning only 11 of their next 35 games.
Damn.
After Jordan's injury, the Wizards allowed an average of 96.8 points per game.
That's not bad, though.
Which ranked them in the bottom half of the league at
Damn, so you really picking... It's really close, though.
With Jordan being the only significant addition to the Wizards roster between the 0-1-0-2 season, the Wizards roster improved 16 wins. Outside of Jordan, the 2002 Wizards' only additions were 5 bench players, who each played few minutes. Tyronn Lue played 20 minutes per game. Rookie Kwame Brown played 14. Rookie Brendan Haywood played 14. Rookie Etan Thomas played 13, and rookie Bobby Simmons played 11. Again, the addition of Jordan was the only significant addition, and the team was transformed defensively and won almost twice as many games as the year before. Jordan was still dealing with injuries heading into the following season, and because of this, Jordan started the first 15 games of the 2002-2003 season coming off of the bench.
I didn't order a pizza.
I know, but that Parker promo saved me so much in my insurance. Brought you a little something special.
Parker, State Farm offers everyone surprisingly great rates.
You're the man, man.
And you want the real deal? Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
In his second season in Washington, Jordan was the only Wizard to play all 82 games, and he was 40 years old.
Damn.
He also became the only 40-year-old in NBA history to score over 40 points in a game, which he did several times that season. He also became the oldest player in NBA history to average at least 20 points per game. Despite the best efforts of a 40-year-old legend, the Wizards still fell short of the Eastern Conference playoffs. So let's take a look at some of Jordan's numbers with the Wizards in comparison to last year's numbers from some of today's modern NBA
23.
stars. As you can see in many...
Hold on. Let me go to DeRozan. Okay, so same points, same assists. MJ had more rebounds, more steals, lower field goal percentage.
From some of today's modern NBA stars. As you can see in many of these...
MJ had one more point, basically. A little bit more assists, a little bit more rebounds, less steals, worse percentage.
Jordan's numbers were just as good, if not better, than a lot of today's modern NBA stars. Also consider
I like
the
how you
fact
just
that
put
we're
George.
comparing the numbers of an injury-laden 40-year-old player to young, healthy players in the prime of their careers. When you look at it that way, you begin to realize just how impressive Jordan's Wizards seasons actually were. Now let's take a moment to compare Jordan's seasons to other legends when they played as a 38 or 39-year-old. As you can see, these numbers aren't even close to Jordan's level of production at the same age. Jordan was just on another level completely, performing at a level that the league had never seen before or since at that age. So now that we've just thoroughly examined Jordan's production and how he impacted one of the worst teams in the NBA by joining them, let's pause for a moment to consider what may have happened if he spent those comeback years on an actual contender instead of a lottery team. If he had played for a contender, he likely would have been able to preserve his health and minutes for the playoffs. What if he had joined his old running mate Scottie Pippen on a loaded and contending Blazers
They would have for sure won a chip.
What if he returned to Phil Jackson to play alongside Shaq and Kobe on the dynamic Lakers? Are we potentially looking at an even greater 8-0 finals record for Michael Jordan? I know many people these days, especially the younger crowd, like to discredit Jordan's legacy because of the perceived lack of athletic competition Jordan had during the 1980s and 90s relative to today's basketball. But before you jump on that bandwagon, I want you to consider this. In the early 2000s, Jordan was, in terms of impact and statistically, one of the best players in the NBA as a 38 to 40-year-old, and he did all of that production while being way past his prime athletically, dealing with numerous injuries, all while being guarded by greats like Kobe Bryant, Vince Carter, and Tracy McGrady, night in and night out, who were all in their early 20s. Does that sound like athletic competition to you? Does that sound like a prime Jordan would have been the best regardless of the era you place him in?
Oh my gosh.
That is certainly what it sounds like to me.
Great video. Definitely enjoyed it. Appreciate to whoever sent me this. Definitely allows me to gather more context and be able to paint my own picture and be able to have my own opinion. The more information that I gather, you know what I mean, it allows me to see things from my own view, you know what I'm saying? So definitely like, comment, share, and subscribe if you like these type of videos, and I will see you when I see you. Peace.